Hiya guys, back to our YouTube channel. Thanks for your great support. Guys, kufikia saizi kama huamini Rigathi Gachagua the former deputy president, then uko tu nchi nyingine. Pale Mandera mambo yamechemka na amekuwa too much. Mambo yamekuwa too much. Saizi wananchi wa pale ama residents ukipenda hawana makao mazuri venye maybe wewe unakaa saizi. Unaona watu wangu, pale kuishi kumekuwa tricky because Jubaland invade pale na kufikia saizi watu 7 wameweza kuaga dunia. Juu yesterday walikuwa watu 5 and kufikia saizi ni watu wangapi? Watu 7. So now guys, mambo yamechemka. Mambo yamechemka and kwa hii video guys, sitaki ujaribu kuswipe. Juu I want you to listen pia, tuangalie ni nani huyu ako behind. Ni nani huyu anajaribu kusponsor Jubaland kuweza kuinvade upande wa Mandera County. Kumechemka watu wangu. Unaona watu wangu. So now, you see guys, tunaanza na Rigathi Gachagua first of all. Rigathi Gachagua anaendelea exposing. And kila kitu ambacho Rigathi Gachagua anajaribu kuexpose guys, haufai kuchukulia mchezo. Tunafaa tuwe serious kabisa. Juu sasa Rigathi Gachagua anatuambia kwamba George Ruto anajaribu kusnatch Rongai land ila uweze kujenga mambo yake pale. Huyu ni kijana wa Rais William Samoei Arap Ruto. Sikiza.
Walitekwa nyara. Huyu jamaa ameleta wizi katika serikali. Amepora mali ya Kenya. Hata saa hii anapanga kiwanja ya mchezo hapa ya watoto wa Rongai. Hata mtoto yake akuja ajenge stadium, haiwezekani. Harambee! Harambee! Mimi nataka kumwambia huyu kijana ya rais, huwezi ipa kiwanja ya watoto wa Rongai. Hapa tuko na vijana wetu wanacheza mpira, na hatutakubalia mtu yeyote kuiba kiwanja ya vijana. Tumekubaliana. Tena wanataka kuiba shamba la kanisa, ati wajenge manyumba. Mimi nimesema mkijenga hiyo manyumba na nguvu, tukichukua serikali, hiyo manyumba tutapatia kanisa ikiwa kikodisha. Harambee! Rongai hoi! Rongai hoi! Mimi nataka nimtangazie watu ya Rongai, msikuwa na wasiwasi hata kidogo. Huyu jamaa anasema ati hatuna plan. Tuko na plan. Plan yetu ni Ruto must go.
Unaona guys, huyu ni Rigathi Gachagua and that's why napenda mambo ya politics zaidi. Na nitakufa nikifanya analysis ya politics. I can tell you. Kumechemka watu wangu. Akaendelea.
Aende asiende. Aende asiende. Kwa sababu tunasema ndio turekebisha uchumi wa Kenya, lazima Ruto afanye nini? Ndio turekebisha matibabu, lazima afanye nini? Ndio turekebisha masomo, lazima afanye nini? Ameharibu Kenya, hajaharibu. Amepora mali ya Kenya, hajapora. Ni mwizi, si mwizi. Mwizi aende asiende. Harambee! Mimi wananitisha kila siku. Amepanga magengi na polisi wakiwa na civilian. Kila siku wanapiga magari yangu, wanalitupia mawe, wanataka kunizia uoga. Mimi sinunui uoga. Harambee! Harambee! Hata leo walikuwa wametafuta askari ya prison, watumwa hapo waleta fujo, wakaambiwa na watu ya Rongai, mjaribu kuleta fujo hapa Rongai.
Now kufikia saizi tunaelekea upande wa Mandera County. Mandera County nini inaendelea kufanyika guys? Kabla tuendelee, and show me like video, na nasema thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. You see guys, moments Rigathi Gachagua anatuambia kitu, tunafaa tufikirie mbele na tukimbie tuangalie zaidi haraka. Even hawa police officers pia, unaona watu wangu, wanafaa kuangalia mbele zaidi kabla kitu iwasen. Juu guys, Rigathi Gachagua kufikia saizi kila mtu ameanza kumwamini ni msema ukweli. Unaona watu wangu? Now, ni nani huyu ako behind Jubaland? ama ni nani huyu anajaribu kusponsor Jubaland? Imekuwa exposed ndani ya hii video na imefanywa na Plug TV. You see guys, napenda kutumia Plug TV because huwa napata ama jamaa na anawafanyia interview, then wanatuambia the truth. Unaona watu wangu kuhusu Jubaland. So kabla tusikize pale guys, kumbuka residents wa pale wanalia zaidi baada ya Rigathi Gachagua kuexpose. Sikiza.
Juzi nimeita TV nikasema askari wako pale ya nchi jirani. Sasa ndio nimeona gavana wa Mandera ameamuka analia ati asaidiwe. Tumeona ya kwamba nchi yetu imevamiwa by troops from foreign countries. Pale Mandera maaskari ya Jubaland wameingia Mandera. They have occupied more than half of the town. Waliua watu 5. 7 people have been injured and many people have been displaced, including schools. And the mandate of the Kenya Defence Forces is to protect our territorial integrity. And it cannot be that foreign forces are in our land and the government is quiet, the Commander-in-Chief is quiet. We are asking the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces to immediately order an operation to flush out foreign troops out of our land. This is our country. We have a responsibility to protect our territorial integrity, and it cannot be that forces from Somalia can come into Kenya and occupy our land and terrorize our people. Yet the government is quiet and the leaders of Mandera are quiet. So tuambie watu ya Mandera, hata viongozi wenu wakinyamaza, sisi tuko. Tutatetea nyinyi kwa sababu hatuwezi kubali muangaishwe na magaidi kutoka nchi jirani.
Lakini hatujapitia tarehe ile tuko leo hapa. Leo tuko maisha yetu iko hatarini. Jeshi ya Somalia ambayo walikuwa wanapigania ya Jubaland ambayo walipigania Bulhawa walivuka ubandi baada ya kushindwa, wanaletwa hapa katikati ya Bibiwan na shamba Bula na shamba sehemu kidogo. Hakuna mtu anaweza enda choo, hakuna mtu anaweza enda shamba, tuko hatarini.
And I can confirm that in our counties, huge chunk of the area is now being partially controlled by Al-Shabaab. I can tell you for Mandera, Al-Shabaab presence and sightings are more than 60% of Mandera county.
Hakuna mtu anaweza enda shamba, tuko hatarini. Tunaomba serikali ya Kenya. Kenya inasema tunachunga mali ya watu na binafsi yao. Kenya kama inajua ama hajui, tunataka watu jue leo tuko ile shida tuko. Hawa wanakaa hapa, wale wengine wanakaa mbele yao uzo wengine, tuko hatarini. Vita ikaanzika hapo, tuko hatarini. Tuko hatarini. Ile misho kabisa. Watu wamehama robo ama nusu ya watu wamehama. Tuko tu wachache ambayo wameshinda kuhama kwa ajili ya ng'ombe na shamba. Sasa tunaomba serikali watusaidie atoe hawa, na tunaomba MB atusaidie aongee na serikali kuu ili tupate msaada ya kuhamisha hawa na tuishi vile walikuwa tunaishi zamani.
The people are dying for hunger. The farms, they are destroying their farms. They are destroying their property. Nobody is talking about that place, this place. We are in fear of these people. We want to tell the government to take action from these people.
Acha tusikie hii story venye imekuwa exposed na Plug TV. Sikiza.
To it, there's a context that we need to talk about. Oh. So the Jubaland forces, yes, they've been there since the end of July.
This year?
This year, mid-July, because there was fighting in Beledhau. Beledhau is a town just across from Mandera town. Just 3 kilometers from that border point into Mandera, that's Beledhau town. And they were there because there was fighting between Jubaland forces and federal forces.
Federal forces or?
The federal forces of Somalia.
Okay.
Okay. And, the fighting, there are events that led up to that fighting.
Yeah.
If Kenyans will remember, in last year in November, December time, there were reports that there were some Somali forces also that had crossed into Raskamboni, from Raskamboni into Kiunga area of Kenya.
Yeah.
So these issues are related, and here's how they're related. So first of all, let's talk about Jubaland. What is Jubaland? You might ask, some people might think Jubaland is in Sudan, maybe in South Sudan, because Juba is the capital city of South Sudan. But this is Jubaland. Jubaland is a semi-autonomous state in Somalia. So there are several states in Somalia. We have Jubaland, we have Southwest State, Puntland, Southwest, Hirshabelle, Puntland, and of course the disputed Somaliland, which declared its independence from the rest of the Somali. That's a story for another day. But Jubaland was essentially formed in 2012, 2013 time, and since then it has been led by Ahmed Madobe, as you rightly put it in what you produced. But there have been issues since that time between the federal government and these semi-autonomous states. The latest round of, I would say, wrangles started last year when the current president of the federal government, that is Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, HSM in short, when he changed the constitution and is pushing for a universal suffrage elections. So that means one person, one vote elections. So he wants that to be replicated all across the states,
including Jubaland.
Including Jubaland itself. So the last time elections, universal suffrage elections were held in Somalia was in 1969, 1968, I think. Just immediately after that, there was the assassination of the president and the taking over of Somalia by Siad Barre. Siad Barre is well known, I think, the dictator of Somalia, who was overthrown in the early 1990s. So since that time, there's never been an election of that sort, because Somalia went into civil war, and from the early 2000s, the early 2010s, that's when the country itself is trying to pull itself back from the effects of that civil war. So Jubaland itself was formed in 2012, as I've said, with the efforts. Kenya was really instrumental in that, Ethiopia as well. And Ahmed Madobe was installed as president. He was elected as president. So elections since that time in Jubaland and all across the other states, and also in Somalia as a whole, have been indirect elections.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Just to understand a bit further.
Yeah.
Why was it even formed?
It was formed because there's usually clan is everything, I would say, in Somali in Somali culture. Clan is very, very integral, and because during that fighting all across from the civil war in Somalia, there were different factions, different warlords that were forming, or that were taking over and then reigning over different parts of the country. So there's a long history to it. There are different groups, but there was just a consensus between these groups that they needed to form Jubaland. As well, Southwest State was formed, and then majorly clan alliances that led to this states being formed. So Jubaland is, if you look at Jubaland, is divided into 3 regions. So there's Gedo, Middle Juba, and Lower Juba, and the Lower Juba predominantly is held by the Ogaden clan. Then upwards, towards the north in Gedo, that's the Marihan clan. So there was, consensus during that time. They came together and they formed Jubaland.
So the Ogaden clan and the other clan, they came together.
Marihan, and then the other minority clans in between there that led to the formation of Juba.
Okay.
The other stories I can go into, like Juba Valley Alliance, but I will not go so much into that. But the most important thing about Jubaland for this context is to know that it was formed in 2012, 2013, and Ahmed Madobe, who is Ogaden, has been the president of Jubaland. since that time. So there were elections that were held in 2019, and now elections again were held just previously in 2024 in November. And those are the ones that really caused this big tiff between the federal government and the Jubaland forces. Yeah. So maybe to go back to the elections, is that the president, HSM, wants to have a one person, one vote election. Meaning that the same thing that happens in Kenya. You have polling stations all across the country. People line up, and then they come and vote. Each and every person votes. Or maybe those ones who choose to turn up, they come and vote. What's been happening in Somalia over time has been because of the fragmentation, and because of the lack of security, and because of there hasn't been really that strong forces for state building. It's quite difficult to hold such an election. And of course there's the small issue of Al-Shabaab. I call it small, but there's that issue of Al-Shabaab as well. So what usually happens is that you have an indirect elections where you have representatives who elect this president. For example, in the elections that were held in Jubaland in last year, there were about 75 members of parliament who participated in that vote, and Hamid Madobe was elected. I think he got more than 56 votes, if I'm not wrong. So that is, it's their indirect. It's not like every single person that votes. It's a select.
It's only the chosen few who vote.
Yeah, exactly.
And who chooses these people? The government, not just the leaders.
There are systems that are in place. For example, certain commissions are formed, and then you have certain representatives. Clan elders do play a very big role in this. So you have how these clans are being represented. So they try to ensure that every group is represented, and then you have these representatives now who become the members of parliament, and then they are the ones who choose now this president. So you have this, the representation. So what HSM wants to have a one person, one vote election.
A general election.
A general election,
in the whole country.
In the whole country.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite difficult to do that for him. It's a very noble idea that he has, but it's quite difficult to do that in the context of Somalia. But while in the same, he changed the constitution. He invited now the presidents from these federal member states, Jubaland, Southwest States, Puntland, Hirshabelle, to come and take part, in talks. But the problem was the presidents themselves. They're in a precarious situation. Elections in these states, some of them have not been, they've been postponed. For instance, in Jubaland, the elections were supposed to be held. They were held last year, but they were supposed to be held 2 years before, when the term of the president elapsed. And then there's also a fear that if you introduce a one person, one vote elections, will they still hold on to power?
Okay.
Will that give other people or other politicians a chance to now come on board, or maybe take up the presidency? So Puntland decided to push on with their elections, indirect elections, and they severed ties with the federal government. Jubaland did the same. There were talks that even the Prime Minister of Somalia tried to, because he's from Jubaland as well. He's from the same clan as Madobe. Trying to speak to him to come on board, and then he outrightly refused.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you short.
No problem.
You are talking about presidents.
Yeah.
In Somali. Acha tutumie lugha yenye Wakenya wataelewa. Our presidents ni kama magavana wa hizi states, ama tu ni presidents, actual presidents.
Ni kama magavana. Tunasema kwamba si governors ni kama mini presidents.
Presidents in that region.
Because usually say in Kenya we have 48 governments. We have 47 counties, governments in themselves, and we have it's the same thing.
Okay.
The same thing, because you have here you have a president, you have a vice president, and you have cabinets, you have, you know, all that.
So the general overseer of the Somali whatever is the big president now.
Yeah, he's the big president. Now he's like, because it is a federal system.
Yeah.
Federal system of government. So you have this, they're semi-autonomous. They have their own, for example, the Jubaland forces. So each of these states have their own armed forces.
Hey, okay.
That's the thing. So you have the Jubaland forces, and then you have now the SNA, which is the Somali National Army. Yeah. So in this context, when you're saying about Mandera, the people who are fighting were the army now, that is Somali National Army, and now the Jubaland forces. So each of these states has their own army, and then that's why, you know, the presidents are emboldened. They can say, you know what, we don't really need to follow what you say, because, you know, we can essentially take care of ourselves. Okay. Yeah. So federal systems are quite tricky in that sense, but for Jubaland in particular, it's of interest, of course, to us as Kenya.
So according to what you're saying, Jubaland state doesn't want, you know, that type of voting system, Ama.
Yeah, Madobe doesn't want that.
Yeah.
Madobe, that is the main, I would say, point. I would say the point of no return. That's the point from which these two leaders, the HSM, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, the president of Somalia, and Ahmed Islam, or Madobe, the president of Jubaland. That's what caused their falling out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Madobe was like, there is no way in hell I'm gonna hold an election, like one person, one vote election, and then put my position in jeopardy.
Okay.
And then perhaps have someone else come and take over. There's no way I'm gonna do that.
All right.
Puntland did the same thing. Denny is the president of of Puntland. He did the same thing. So essentially, you have a country in which state of Jubaland has cut ties with the federal government.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Southwest and Hishabel, they're still there. They're still negotiating. So elections are supposed to be held in 2026 next year.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened in November last year? Because the whole process started, you know, they were talking ever since from May, and then in October they held these events. They were calling them the national NCCs, National Consultative NCCs. Anyway, I forget that. But anyway, the biggest point, the most important thing here is that in November, Ahmed Madobe pushed on with his election. He was elected for a third term. And then he maintained his position as president of Jubaland. Now, when that happened, let's go to Raskamboni now.
Yeah.
Before we come to Beledhao. So fighting started.
Okay.
In Raskamboni between the Jubaland forces and the federal forces, the Somali National Army.
Okay.
The Jubaland forces were victorious. The Somalia National Army were routed. Those forces. Many of them were said to have fled into Kenya. There were videos online into Kiunga area of Lamu, because Raskamboni is just across the border from Lamu. That is Kiunga area. And the Jubaland president said, you know what, those ones who are defeated, we are going to airlift you now to take you back to Mogadishu. There were reports that, you know, some reinforcements were sent from Mogadishu to come and help their fellow soldiers in Raskamboni. The fighting continued, but well and truly, the federal forces, they were routed and they were defeated. So they were sent away from Raskamboni.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that is November, December 2024.
Last year.
Last year.
In essence, that's like saying a county government beating the KDF ya huko.
Essentially, yeah. Essentially, that's
yani county government
that is kama county government ingekuwa na jeshi yao
yani kachape jeshi ya nchi mzima.
Jeshi ya nchi mzima. Yeah. That's what happened.
All because of this election.
Yeah, these elections. Now, before the fighting, last year to bring in Al-Shabaab and to bring in Jubaland.
Okay.
Jubaland, there are 3 regions in Jubaland, as I said. There is Gedo region. Now, Gedo region is across the border from Mandera.
Okay.
There is Middle Juba. Of course, Middle Juba doesn't have a border that doesn't touch the border with Kenya, but it's if you across from Wajir all the way, you can find Middle Juba around there. And then you have Lower Juba. Now, Lower Juba borders Garissa and Lamu County.
Okay.
So that is Lower Juba, Middle Juba, and then Gedo. So those are the 3 regions, and it's important for us to understand these 3 regions because they're very key. So Middle Juba is like the de facto headquarters of Al-Shabaab.
Where?
Yeah, so they have Jilib, which is a district in Middle Juba. That's actually the de facto headquarters of Al-Shabaab. That is Jilib. The place is called Sako Bwale. That's where Al-Shabaab
operates
proper. Like that's their base. That's where they operate from. Yeah, which is a distance from our border. So, and then so from there they're able to. Of course, they have small bases here and there in Gedo and in Lower Juba as well. They do control large vasts of land there. They do control it. So in Lower Juba you have, of course, the I would say the de facto headquarters of the capital of the whole of Jubaland is Kismayo, which is there's Kismayo, and then there's Kismayo district.
Kismayo is found in Jubaland state. Okay.
Yeah. Kismayo is the de facto capital. It's a capital of Jubaland. Yeah. The capital should have been Bwale, but Bwale is now under Al-Shabaab control. So, but anyway, it's in. I would say the de jure capital is Bwale, but now the de facto one is Kismayo. That is where Ahmed Madobe's. That is the seat of his power. That's where it happens.
Okay.
If you remember, Kismayo was, of course, Kenya was very instrumental in taking Kismayo.
I remember.
There've been very many battles. There've been various iterations of battles in Kismayo. There was a battle of in 2008 when Al-Shabaab took over. 2012. Now 2012 is when now the KDF and the Somali forces joined up, and then they pushed Al-Shabaab away out of Kismayo.
Okay.
It was called Operation Sledgehammer. I would say I have to give props to the KDF because I think it was one of the most formidable offensive that we've done. Because with the help, of course, with the help of the Somali forces.
All right.
So taking over Kismayo in 2012. So the taking over of Kismayo in 2012 really did help now the formation of Jubaland.
Jubaland forces.
Jubaland as a state.
Jubaland
as a state. I'm saying about now the taking of Kismayo because it's dismantled. Kismayo was being used by Al-Shabaab to for revenue and everything else. But now taking over that really was a blow to them, and now it is the seat of power of Jubaland, of the Jubaland state. So you have that's where now the Jubaland forces are, and last year, the federal forces and the Jubaland forces, they were working together to fight Al-Shabaab. Yeah.
You said the Al-Shabaab are in Jilib.
Jilib is the headquarters, which is in Middle Juba.
Yeah.
So they're trying to fight. So they launched an offensive, and then this offensive was launched in various districts within Lower Juba. And also within Gedo region. Okay. So they were working together.
All right.
The federal forces and the Jubaland forces were working together fighting Al-Shabaab. But of course, this is politics.
Okay.
So in November, when that happened, when the federal forces now fought against now the Jubaland forces, it kind of scuttled, those operations against Al-Shabaab.
Yeah.
And then since then, what they had done, because they had taken over some very key areas. If I was on a map, I could show you the key areas that they took. But essentially, with the fighting in November, it means that the offensive was held back. Now they were forced now to just maintain those areas which they had taken over.
Okay.
Yeah. But there are reports that still, even with this politics going on, even with the fallout, that there's still some, federal forces and Jubaland forces working together in Lower Juba.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting. So I'm saying, when you're looking at Somalia, it's not really black and white sometimes. There's a lot of gray area. That's one thing that we need to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're still working together. But now, let's go to Gedo, where now it happened. Gedo is quite large, as I've said. It borders the whole of Mandera and part of Wajir. There are different districts. There's Beledhao that is just across the border from Mandera. There's Badere, there's Gabare, and all these districts. Now that the federal government was not successful in Lower Juba because it was beaten in Ras Kamboni, it turned its attention to Gedo.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was, historically, there are fault lines, because I've said the Gedo region is predominantly held by the Marehan. It's for the Marehan clan, and in Lower Juba it's more predominantly Ogaden. Okay. And Ahmed Madobe, the president, is Ogaden.
Okay.
So historically there have been tensions. Madobe has struggled in the past to maintain his authority or to stamp his authority on the Gedo region.
All right.
Because of those clan differences. So what the president of Somalia did was that he played on those clan differences. So he was courting different leaders from the Marehan community, trying to spark those old, rivalries between the Ogaden and the Marehan community.
Okay.
And he succeeded in some of those districts that I've mentioned, especially in Beledhao.
All right.
And then there's this character called Janan. He was appointed, he was given a position by the federal government, and then his arrival in Beledhao is what caused now this fighting to break out.
Okay.
Yeah. So leading up to July, there were skirmishes here and there.
Okay.
But now in mid-July, that's when, I think from the 20th of July, that's when now the fighting really started. Right. And now this time, the federal forces were victorious. They were able to defeat they routed the Jubaland forces, and then the Jubaland forces, some of them, of course, they were killed. Some of them were killed, but some of them fled into Mandera.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how they ended up in Mandera.
That's how they ended up in Mandera.
Now.
Yeah.
Where does KDF come in on this? Who should KDF be? Because at the end of the day, KDF has worked with both the Somali National Armed Forces.
Yeah.
And here we are. We also have Jubaland forces. How is KDF playing part in this?
So, as the KDF, yes, they have worked with the Somali forces before, and they've also worked with Jubaland forces. Remember, also KDF is part of the African Union forces in Somalia. So it becomes very difficult. That's what I'm saying. As Kenya was very instrumental in
the stabilization,
in the stabilization and the formation of Jubaland. Because even very many talks were held in Nairobi.
Okay.
That led to the formation of Jubaland.
All right.
Even the Somalia itself, very many talks were held here in Kenya. So it's quite difficult, and I'm not saying that's why the situation is not very, very, very simple. So what happened is this: the Jubaland forces have come. They are in Mandera. They've been housed in a few places, but the federal government of Somalia is, of course, told Kenyans to that we don't want those Jubaland forces. Can you send them back? You have now the governor and some of those political leaders who are saying that having these people here is a risk. They need to go back. And Kenya has also said, that it's a risk. It has agreed that it's a risk. What happens is that if you have them in one place, it's good for them, so that they don't mingle with the communities and
yeah.
then scatter. These are armed people, so you want to keep them in one place. Ideally, and I think this is what should happen, this is my personal view, is that Kenya should find a way of having those Jubaland forces maybe taken back. But if it's not to Beled Hawa, maybe taken back to Lower Juba, for example, where they're still in control, or maybe to other areas. That is what, as Kenya, we can do. But at the same time, Kenya is trying to, at this time, we are trying to play peacemaker. So we cannot be seen to be favoring one or the other.
Okay.
So that's why it's a very complicated situation. We need to, Kenya right now is trying to negotiate, trying to bring these two leaders together to sit on the negotiating table and to see if we can come up with a resolution to all this. When these things happen, it's not only let's not only look at the security forces.
All right.
Let us look at the humanitarian aspect.
Okay.
Because hundreds of families fled the fighting.
Okay.
There were civilians who were killed in the fighting between
Jubaland
forces and SNA. Because they were fighting in the middle of the town. They were, RPGs and all that. So civilians were caught up in that mess. And then we have hundreds of them who also came to Mandera. So Mandera is also having to deal with that humanitarian impact.
Yeah.
You have these hundreds of families coming in. They've been housed in different
and who's housing them?
primary schools. They've been taken to different primary schools.
Who's housing them?
And then the Mandera as a whole, the Mandera triangle, as they call it, that is the Mandera, Ethiopia, and Kenya, and Somalia. We have a huge presence of humanitarian actors.
All right.
So you have humanitarian actors who have taken it upon themselves to provide shelter, food for these families who fled. Schools are reopening, I think. So those families need to leave.
Actually, the governor said that they are about to sit for exams, and unfortunately, one of the schools, BP1 primary school, is under Jubaland forces.
Yeah.
So making all the students stay back at home.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that let's just not look at this situation like it's just a black and white. Take these people and then tell them to leave. No, there has to be a process. Yes, they have, according to reports that I've seen, is that a majority of those families have agreed to go back. They've agreed to go back home. Some of them have said that they want to be treated as refugees. So we'll see, how that happens. But it's only, I would say, 5% that have said they want to be refugees. But a majority of them have said they want to go back. The situation in Beled Hawa is right now, it's calm because it's under the authority of the federal forces, and what needs resolution now is what to do with these Jubaland forces. I think Kenya is. I don't want to speak for the authorities, but I think what they're trying to do is that it's trying to find a way that because you don't want to take them back again for them to fight in the Beled Hawa.